the sun goes down and the lights are low, there's a place where the real talk flows. Rob and Andrew bringing that spark, unfiltered truths after dark. Talking politics, culture, the state of the scene. No spin, just facts in between. From breaking news to stories untold, these voices come bold and cold. They light up the night, no fear in their eyes. Cut through the noise, expose all the lies. Tune in, buckle up, it's gonna get deep. They're waking up minds while the world's asleep. After dark with Rob and Andrew, speaking the truth like they're born to do. Voices strong, opinions tight, shining in the midnight light. After dark, no holding back. They keep you steady when the world's off track.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to After Dark. I am your host, Rob. My other half, Andrew, cannot be with me. As you see that it is daylight and he's working, but I was able to take some time off and just wanted to jump on and talk to you about a couple of things. I want to start off with something that's not so good. I just found out about this, that the James Comey indictment, as reported by the New York Post and other news outlets, might be falling apart because apparently the judge is saying that Trump's prosecuting attorney, Lindsay Halligan, apparently did not share the complete indictment with the grand jury. So he has requested that her grand jury information be handed over to the defense so that they could look at it. This isn't good. We know that James Comey is a corrupt cop. We know that James Comey is not a good guy. James Comey has a record of doing things that are extremely questionable. It goes all the way back to Martha Stewart, the prosecution of Martha Stewart. A lot of people, insiders, attorneys, lawyers said that the case against Martha Stewart was extremely weak. But of course, James Comey wanted to make a name for himself and leveled the charges against her. And she got, I think, like about a year in jail. Moving on down the line, the same thing happened with Hillary Clinton. She didn't go to jail, but remember during the election when she was going against President Trump in 2016, there were questions about her use of her email use, and that she was handling classified information on a personal email that was actually in her, I think, their bathroom in their mansion in upstate New York. Well, we know how that played out. James Comey kept coming up saying, oh, we got to look at this. We got to look at it. Long story short, he looked at it and said that no reasonable jury would find her guilty, so they tossed the case. Fast forward, the Russia collusion. And Trump saying that, not Trump, but James Comey saying that Trump had done something nefarious and how he leaked, he being James Comey, information to the media. I mean, the guy is a bad guy. He's a bad cop. He thinks that he's a God complex. But like I said, it's being reported by the New York Post that this case might be tossed. I hope not. I don't know if they can find anything else to get this guy, to stop this guy. But if that case is tossed, that's just going to be, it could possibly create a ripple effect with Letitia James in her case. She's already saying that there was malfeasance that took place with her case. Adam Schiff, the same thing, and as well as Eric Swalwell. Letitia James, Eric Swalwell, and Adam Schiff all charged with, I think it was mortgage fraud. And to me, in my opinion, I mean, Letitia James saying that her primary residence is in Virginia or some state other than New York City, and then to say that her dad was her husband to get favorable rates. I mean, gosh, if you or I did this, we would be in jail for bank fraud. But of course, they're Democrats, and a lot of the judges that are hearing these cases are Democrats, and they want to let these guys off. They don't want to prosecute them. They want them to be able to do the bad that they did and then walk free. Time will tell. We'll keep watching this case. It doesn't sound good at all. And something else I want to mention on a positive note, $18 trillion. Is it 18 trillion, I think? Yeah, going to be invested into the U.S. by Saudi Arabia. That's huge. Now, I know that people are running around talking about affordability and getting down the housing prices so that people can buy houses, so that they can create wealth. But how can you get that if you don't have jobs here? We got to remember that under the Biden administration, and even before Biden, a lot of our jobs went overseas. A lot of our manufacturing jobs. We used to be like huge manufacturers of furniture. All of that went overseas to Taiwan, to China, to Bangladesh, and to India. Now Trump is going overseas and trying to bring these investments back home so that we could create a middle class and jumpstart our economy. Not that the economy isn't already booming, but we need more jobs here. Everyone can't go to college to get these tech jobs. We need jobs here. So that's what Trump has been doing these past 8 months. He's only been in office for 8 months, a year now. But what he's been doing is phenomenal compared to other presidents that usually take them 2 years to get anything done. Trump has been on fire. And as I mentioned just the other day, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia came here to invest $18 trillion into our economy. They had already had promised to invest, I think, $1 billion. Now it's $18 trillion. This is huge. Why isn't the media talking about this? Why aren't they saying, wow, this is going to really, like, talking about make America great again and Trump campaign on the golden age of America? We're definitely in the golden age. So why aren't more people talking about the successes that Trump is bringing to our shores, to our country? Why aren't they? I'll tell you why. Because they're busy talking about none other than Jeffrey Epstein, the Jeffrey Epstein files. We want to see what's in the files. We want to know who the pedos were. We want to know who the bad actors were. And I got to tell you, folks, the Democrats don't care who's in the files. They don't care. We just found out that Michael Wolff, this renowned so-called author, is in the files. Stacey Plaskett, a representative of the Virgin Islands, had been in contact with Jeffrey Epstein. She was actually in contact with Jeffrey Epstein during one of the hearings about Jeffrey Epstein, and he was actually feeding her information live during the hearings. Now, of course, Democrats aren't talking about it. The media isn't talking about it. But you know who is talking about it? Me. I'm talking about it on After Dark. I would encourage you all to go to my X feed, The Real Rob X, because I'm exposing it all. I'm exposing Stacey Plaskett for who she really is. And I'm sure you guys heard that the other day, once the House voted to release all of the Epstein files, there was a motion to censor her. Unfortunately, there were a few Republicans who decided not to do it. One of them being, I think it was a Corey Mills, and I think Nancy Mace has, let me see here, I have the article. Yeah, Nancy Mace is going to force a vote on ousting Mr. Mills, Corey Mills. He's a Republican from Florida, and he's also questionable. He's done a lot of questionable things, beating up on his spouse, allegedly. But I'm surprised that they didn't vote to censor her and to kick her off a lot of the committees that she's on, because if the tables were turned, Democrats would immediately ask that a fellow Republican be censored. Remember Mike Waltz? Remember Matt Gaetz? I mean, they don't play. But for Republicans, there's always these deals that are being made that they don't want to censor Democrats. Democrats are not your friends. Not this group of Democrats. Maybe the Democrats during the Clinton years, during the Kennedy years, but those Democrats are old baby boomers. They've moved on. You now have these progressive Democrats that want blood. Not only do they want blood, they want death. They tried to assassinate Trump not once, but twice. And look at what we're finding out about this Crooks guy and what the FBI knew and didn't share with us. Compliments of Christopher Wray, another corrupt cop. Can't believe it. All these corrupt cops coming out of the FBI. I mean, remember J. Edgar Hoover, how corrupt he was? Well, it seems as though James Comey and Christopher Wray is going to make him look like, I think, Cinderella. Back to the Epstein files. And Democrats claiming to be so concerned about the victims. No, they're not. As I mentioned, Michael Wolff, Stacey Plaskett, Larry Summers, who was in both Obama and Clinton's administration, was their economic advisor. His name is all over the Epstein files, including Bill Clinton. But the Democrats don't want to talk about that. They're only concerned with finding information on Donald Trump. They're only concerned if Donald Trump's name is in the Epstein files. They don't care who else is there. Katie Couric even mentioned the other day that she attended a party for Jeffrey Epstein, but she claimed that she didn't know about how bad he was, that he was into all this sex abuser and was, a pedo. How didn't she know? She's a reporter. But she claims she didn't know. So they want to give her a pass. So all this talk about Epstein and we want to make certain that we understand what's going on, it's all smoke screens and mirrors. Because the only thing the Democrats are concerned with is if Trump is linked to it. And so far, what we have found out is that Trump's names, yeah, they're on emails by Jeffrey Epstein, sending the emails to Stacey Plaskett and other Democrats. But there were no emails from Trump to Jeffrey Epstein. You know why? Because Jeffrey Epstein didn't like Trump. He had a hard-on from Trump because he could not get Trump into his little web of manipulation. He was going after Trump. He wanted Trump to take the bite. He wanted Trump to go to the Lolita Island like all of these other political politicians have done. I wouldn't at all be surprised if Stacey Plaskett didn't go there because he is in her district. She's from the U.S. Virgin Islands, and I think that's where Trump. I think Epstein's island was. Gosh, you can't make this stuff up. So why isn't the media concerned about it? They're not concerned about it because it's not Trump. They only want Trump linked to it because they're hoping that this will divide not only the American people, but definitely MAGA, as it did previously earlier on. When Trump came into office, there were a lot of folks in MAGA who got mad because they felt that, oh, Trump didn't release all the files like he said he was going to. Never mind that it didn't have anything to do with anything or anything to do with them. But a lot of people were saying, well, what about the pedos? We want to expose them. Well, I got something else for you. Go to my Twitter, my X feed. I just dropped a post the other night from the Laura Ingraham show talking about the hundreds of kids, illegal kids that came here, but they call them migrant kids that came here, and Biden placed them in the homes of other illegals and foster homes, and those same kids were abused. Where is the outrage? Where is the call to justice for those children? Early this year, we found out that in California, there was a ranch that was abusing children who came here illegally, confiscated from their parents and sent to this ranch to work. Where's Gavin Newsom? Where is the justice? Where is the outcry for those children? We hear people talking about Jeffrey Epstein, but what about the innocent among us, those poor children who were torn from their families, sent to this ranch, and sexually abused? What about the hundreds of children that the Biden-Harris administration brought here, put them in foster care, and then those children were abused, and then they lost track of them? Where is the outcry? There is no outcry because Trump's name can't be linked to it. Trump is trying to build America up, make America great again, and you have the Democrats along with a biased media trying to tear it down, and you have a lot of people who are falling for it. But you know what? I'm not going to fall for it because I see through the smoke screens and mirror. I know what Trump is doing, and he's trying to make America great again. That is a reason why he's working with different allies to do it. A lot of people are upset that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia came here because they're looking at, well, what about 9/11 and the Saudis, and they caused 9/11. You know what, folks? Remember World War I and World War II? Who are our adversaries? Germany and Japan. Where is Germany and Japan right now? They're working with us. Trump just left Japan and brought home $1 billion deal. Remember, Japan was our nemesis during World War II, as was Germany. We're working with them. There is a saying that goes, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. 9/11 happened 25 years ago. It was unfortunate and it was a sad day. I won't forget it, and I hope you won't forget it. Unfortunately, a lot of people in New York City have forgotten about it. You know why? Because they just voted a radical Muslim to be mayor, and a socialist at that. And I spoke about that before. So when you want to start telling me that, oh, well, why did he invite the Crown Prince here? Especially the media. Because they're trying to get this thing all riled up, get you all riled up and say, oh, well, Trump has forgotten about 9/11 and he's in bed with the Saudis and they caused 9/11. Folks, wake up, don't believe it. And you know what else? I just realized You have a contingency that's out there, like the Tucker Carlsons and Candace Owens, and I have nothing against them, okay? I think that Candace is a bit wackadoodle lately. Tucker Carlson, he puts on a lot of great shows. He's the one who put on the show with this Crooks guy, was exposing what the FBI knew. But lately they've been saying that Israel is controlling America and that they're controlling Trump and they're telling Trump what to do and what not to do. Well, if that's so, why is it that Trump just agreed to sell to Saudi Arabia the F-35 fighters? Israel don't want that. Israel is against it. But our president, who works on his own terms for the American people, is doing it because he's trying to create new allies. So when you hear that propaganda coming from folks on the left and a few from the right that Israel is controlling the United States, just remind them, hey, if that's the case, why is Trump selling them F-35 fighters? Wow, forgot about that. And when they start telling you, well, why are they letting Saudi Arabia come here? Just remind them, remember, World War I and World War II. Remember our enemies in World War II, Germany, Japan. We're now working with them. Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer. Not to say that Germany and Japan are our enemies. I'm not saying that at all. But let's not forget that. Now, moving back to the Jeffrey Epstein files, I have a tape that I want to play for you. It's talking about why the media keeps bringing up Jeffrey Epstein, because they want to, it's all about distracting from what was actually happening. And that is Trump bringing in these major deals, investments, so that he could build America up again. As he said, America is like a hot commodity, one of the hottest countries out there, the hottest country out there. But the media, they don't want you to know that. They want to keep you going with the Jeffrey Epstein. Remember the shutdown that the Democrats lost? They lost miserably. That's the reason why they're bringing up Jeffrey Epstein, because for 30 days, Jeffrey Epstein's name was never mentioned. But the moment the Democrats lost the shutdown, and you had Democrats siding with Republicans to open up the government, all at once on social media, these influencers started bringing up Jeffrey Epstein. We want to see the Jeffrey Epstein files. It's a distraction. That's all it is. Because if they were concerned about sexual predators and the victims, their victims, they would be looking at those kids in California. They would be asking, what happened to those kids, those hundreds of kids that the Biden-Harris administration lost? But they're not asking because they're not concerned. So let me just play this video for you of Trump scolding a reporter, Mary Bruce, I think that's her name. And this is the same Mary Bruce who, during the Biden administration, she submitted questions for Biden to have in advance so that he would be able to answer them, so that Biden and his demented state wouldn't fumble and stumble and mumble and do whatever, but he still did it. But this is a Mary Bruce who's going to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein files. And why won't you go ahead and release the files? Again, they want you to think that Trump is in the files. Play the tape.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Esptein files? Why not just do it now?
Well, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who's highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're all psyched. Somebody psychs you over at ABC. They're going to psych it. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files is, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard, was with him every single night, every single weekend. They lived together. They went to his island many times, never did. Andrew Weissman, I hear. All these guys were friends of his. You don't even
Andrew Weissman.
Those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax to try and get me not to be able to talk about the $21 trillion that I talked about today. It's a hoax. Now, I just got a little report, and I put it in my pocket, of all the money that he's given to Democrats. He gave me none, zero, no money to me, but he gave money to Democrats. And people are wise to your hoax, and ABC's is your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, the chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97.
Looks like we're having some technical difficulties. I was trying to play the whole tape for you. We're having some technical difficulties. I apologize for that. Let's just see here. I guess someone doesn't want this information out there, so they keep me from sharing this with you, but I am going to soldier on because I want you to see I think you guys can hear it, but you can't see it. Having some technical difficulties here. Let's see. Sorry about that, folks. We're having some problems here, I think, on my end, sharing that with you, but we will work that out. Folks, sorry about that. I don't know what happened, but it seemed as if though we were having some technical difficulties and we went blank. But as I mentioned, I am going to soldier on here. I was playing a tape for you by Trump, who was scolding a ABC reporter, Mary Bruce. She decided to bring up the Jeffrey Epstein files and was asking Trump, why wouldn't he release it? Why wouldn't he sign it? Then he came back with her and saying, look, I have nothing to do with this. This is all a Democrat hoax. And when he's saying hoax, he's not saying that what Epstein did was a hoax, but he's saying that them trying to link him to the entire scandal is a hoax, which is what we saw with Russia collusion. The Democrats did the exact same thing with Russia collusion. They said that Trump was involved with Russia. How in the heck could he be involved with Russia and he was sanctioning Russia? I mean, it's like, make sense of it, but you had a lot of people going down that rabbit hole and thinking, oh, there must be something nefarious. And you know why? They thought that because the liberal media told them that. You got to start thinking for yourselves. You can't trust ABC, CBS, or NBC, fake news CNN, or MSNBC. MSNBC, who's now, I think they call themselves MS Now, because NBC got rid of them because they were doing so horrible. You can't trust these folks. I know that a lot of you don't like President Trump. I get it. Okay, fine. But look at his policies. Look at what his policies are doing for our great country. He's restoring parental rights. And I can't even believe I'm saying that, restoring parental rights. Because in a lot of states, parents don't have the rights that they used to have. And you know what that's reminiscent of? Of China's Mao, when they took parental rights from the parents and gave them to the children. Right now, we see children in schools confused over their gender. There are only two genders, male, female. That's it. There are no furries. All this other stuff that they're making up is just made up, and we need to get it out of our schools. And that's the reason why Trump wants to end the Department of Education. And these teacher unions that are pushing it, look at who's over the teachers union. 2 lesbians. So they don't care about pushing this trans ideology and confusing our kids. They want this. They want our kids to be confused. When our kids are confused, what happens? Our kids don't grow up as healthy and become healthy adults. They don't marry. You got right now women saying that they're going to leave the country and go somewhere else. Well, probably the liberal women. And I would say, go, let me help you, get out, because we don't want you to procreate. We don't want you to have children, because your children will be confused. So that's what this is all about. The media wants to distort, they want to control the narrative, and they want to get you to think of what they're thinking and to believe what they're believing. But this whole Esptein thing, no. Because if they were concerned about it, they would be asking Stacey Plaskett, why were you texting Jeffrey Esptein during a hearing? Why were you doing it? Now she's coming out saying, well, why can't I text my constituent? He's a convicted felon. He had been convicted. You guys are saying that he was a power, so why would you want to text him? Oh, and you guys should look at the text. Again, go to The Real Rob X. I have it all there. He was texting her about what is she chewing in her mouth, that she looks great, the outfit that she has on. I mean, it was a regular, like a party with the girls. This is unbelievable. And then you have Hakeem Jeffries. There's a text with him trying to get a meeting with Jeffrey Esptein. I mean, they refer to him as being the Brooklyn Barack Obama. You can't make this stuff up. He was asking for money from Jeffrey Esptein. I guess money for his campaign. Why aren't Democrats, why isn't the media talking about it? Why is the media quiet about it? They asking him, why were you asking for money from this guy when you knew what his background was about? They don't want to talk about that. They only want Trump. And as I mentioned, yes, his name is in the emails with Jeffrey Esptein contacting Democrats saying, what is Trump doing? Look at this about Trump. See if you can find this about Trump. Because Trump didn't take the bait. Trump wouldn't respond to him. Trump kicked him out of his club in Mar-a-Lago. He wanted nothing else to do with him. But Jeffrey Esptein had the hard on for Trump. He wouldn't let it go. He had to get Trump and his fingers. He wanted Trump. Maybe it was some type of sexual perversion. I don't know. But I'm also finding out from some of my sources that Jeffrey Esptein wasn't quite all there in the neither region. He was having some problems. Someone described it as a lemon. And I don't even want to imagine, but go look it up. You guys can go to DuckDuckGo and look up about Jeffrey Esptein and his manly parts. Really weird there. But anyway, back to what I was saying. This isn't about the victims. It's all about them trying to connect Trump to it. I know Marjorie Taylor Greene. We have Marjorie Taylor Greene, and what is the other guy's name? Thomas Massey. They're in this whole corner of release the files, release the files, release the files. And people are saying, oh, well, there must be something there because they're Republicans and they want to release the files. No. Again, they're also saying that this is about the victims and the victims have a right to be heard. Well, if that's true, Marjorie Taylor Greene, you have the victims' names. You have their statements. Why didn't you go to the House floor and read their statements and read the names of the individuals that they're talking about? Why didn't you do it? You don't hear the media talking about that, do you? The only thing you hear the media saying is that, oh, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's going against Trump. She's defying Trump, and Trump is not going to support her anymore. Okay, fine. But why don't you ask her? You have the names, Marjorie. Why don't you just read them on the House floor? What are you waiting for? Now, we've got to wait 30 more days once Trump signs this bill. And can you imagine a bill for Jeffrey Esptein? Think of all the other bills we could be passing. Bills to make certain that we can get transgender ideology out of our educational system. What about a bill for that? Why aren't they coming together for that? Why aren't they coming together and saying, let's find those children that Biden and Harris lost? Are they still being abused? What gives? So when you have all these people saying, oh my God, we're so concerned about the victims, it's all for theatrical purposes. They aren't concerned. They don't care. They only want you to think that they care, but they don't care. So don't buy into it. Smoke screens and mirrors. As I mentioned, this Mary Bruce woman. from ABC News. Her bringing this up at the press conference the other day. I'm all for journalists doing their jobs. By all means, do your job. But for Pete's sake, let's be fair with it. I mean, journalism has just taken a completely different, direction as far as reporting the news. And this all happened during the Obama administration when they anointed him as God. And he's not God. He failed with the health care, which is one of the reasons the Democrats tried to shut down the government so that they could keep paying these subsidies for the health care, Obama premiums that have just gone through the roofs, but no one wants to talk about it, including Republicans. You guys have got to, do something about health care. But this whole thing is to turn this into Jeffrey Epstein and people not wanting the information out there. I mean, come on, this is Jeffrey Epstein 2.0. My co-host Heather Robinson and I, she's a contributor for the New York Post. We spoke about this the other night on After Dark, the America Out Loud.news platform. And I would encourage you all to go and listen to the podcast. I mean, this has gotten completely out of control what's happening here. And that's the reason why I wanted to come to you live today and talk about this, because a lot of what's happening, it's crazy, and people need to be made aware. And because I have this platform, live platform on America Emboldened, I'm going to come to you live and share it with you. So again, the names that are on the list that we know: Michael Wolff, Stacey Plaskett, Representative Stacey Plaskett from the U.S. Virgin Islands, Larry Summers, Bill Clinton, and I'm sure that there are other Democrats that are there as well. So I would encourage you to do your research and don't listen to what these fake news journalists are saying. They're only trying to get you all riled up so that you'll lose focus on what Trump is actually doing. Making America great again, bringing America back, restoring its greatness. Look at the stock markets. Look at your 401k. You didn't have that under Biden. Now, some of you will lie and say, oh, yeah, I did. No, you didn't. Stop lying. You didn't. Biden, even though he was going or coming half of the time. And as I will say again, if you don't like Trump's personality, I get it. That's fine. But look at his policies, the policies that he's doing to make America great again, to level the playing field with jobs. Look at his policies. And those policies you can certainly identify with. I know that there are others that are out there who say, oh, well, he's a racist. Folks, please, we got to stop this. We got to stop playing the race card. We really do, because if anyone plays a race card, it's the Democrats. Look at how they've been holding blacks down for God knows how long. The black population here in the country is only at 13%. 13%, and it has been that way since forever. Why is that? And we're still telling blacks, you will overcome, and you're going to do this, and we're going to do this for you. Why haven't you done it? Meanwhile, illegals are coming here. They're becoming first-time home buyers. They're getting cars, they're getting jobs, and blacks are still, in the ghetto waiting. And speaking of in the ghetto and waiting, Michelle Obama, not that she's ghetto, not that she's waiting on anything, but she was being interviewed, I think last week, by, what is her name? I think it was one of Diana Ross's daughter, Tracy Ross. And she made several controversial statements. One, she made a statement about her hair, telling white people don't touch their hair. And yeah, I got to admit, white people, some of you will do that. You will go up and try to touch a black person's hair. Why? We're not trying to touch your hair. What are you doing? Okay, stop it. Just keep your hands to yourself. But, she mentioned that, but she also said that one of the reasons why black people can't swim, maybe because that black women don't want to get their hair messed up because their hair comes out of their hair really curly. I'm like, what? And then she says, so, that's one of the reasons we don't swim and why we don't work out in the gym, because we don't want to sweat our hair and get it curly. No, that's an excuse. You're not working out because you don't want to pull back from the table. And now that Ozempic is out there, the weight loss drug, or as Trump says, the fat loss drug, Wegovy, a lot of you probably won't go to the gym, but I would encourage you to go to the gym, because Wegovy and Ozempic, yeah, it will make you lose fat, but also muscle mass. So I would encourage you to still go to the gym, okay? Don't think you can get by, on the side, and I don't have to go to the gym, I'll just lose weight and still eat like Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey, she's on it. And I also think, I know that Serena Williams, she's taking one of the fat loss drugs, and she's even mentioned it. So don't listen to them when they're talking about don't go to the gym. But something else Michelle had mentioned, she said that America isn't ready for a woman president. So don't look for her to run because they're not ready for it because they had Kamala Harris and look at what happened. I'm like, are you serious? Are we still talking about this? And this is what I'll have to say, because she's partly right that America isn't ready for a woman president. But there's a cutoff to that. Those who can define what a woman is, like conservatives, a woman is an adult female. We're ready for a woman president, as long as it's a conservative woman, because we know that liberal women can't define what a woman is. I had a taping that I was going to play for you with Ketanji Brown Jackson defining what a woman is. Well, unable to define what a woman is when the question was put to her. And she stumbled on it and was saying, well, why are you asking me what a woman is? I can't. Let me see if I can find the tape, because I want to play that for you. She's like, I'm not a. She goes, I'm not a biologist. I can't define it. I'm like, are you serious? A woman is an adult female. That's all she had to say. But she struggled with
Provide a definition for the word woman.
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't.
You can?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
Let me play that again.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't.
You can?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
She can't define what a woman is. And Michelle is saying that we're not ready for a woman president. Well, if you can't define what a woman is, why would we want you to be president? You have liberal men running around pretending to be women because they think it. I feel that way. I've got news for you. You can think and feel whatever you want to. That doesn't make you a woman, and it never will. And that's one of the things that we need to take care of. I mean, I want to say pass a law, but why should we pass a law to define what a woman is? No one is saying they can't define what a man is. It's all about women. And you have women running around saying that, oh, toxic men, they're not being fair. No, it's toxic women, toxic femininity, because you can't define your own gender. And now you're mad at men because we can define our gender. This is crazy. But see, this is what you get with progressive Democrats. This is what you get with liberals. And these are the policies that the Biden-Harris administration pushed. These are the policies that Democrats will push. But they will say, oh no, it's the conservatives, they're racist. They got you with the racists. As the moment you mention racist, people will stop. Folks, it's time to wake up. Don't be deceived. Because these toxic women will be the death of our country. And maybe we should change it from saying toxic men and saying toxic femininity, because they are the toxic individuals, these women. Yes, the country is ready for a woman to be president once the right conservative woman comes around. But until such time, we will never want a Democrat, a liberal, to be a woman because she can't define who she is. She'll probably allow a man to run in that position and who will say, oh, I'm a woman. But you're not. Let me play it again.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
This is a Supreme Court justice now.
I can't.
You can?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
I can't believe it. Ketanji Brown Jackson could not define what a woman is, and she sits on the Supreme Court. We're in trouble. If the only thing the Democrats can do is run around and play identity politics and then talk about, Jeffrey Epstein, we're in trouble. we're in trouble. They're not concerned about victims of sex abuse. They're not concerned about any of that. The only thing they want to see is if Donald Trump's name is in those files. And like I said, his name is there. And all the emails with Jeffrey Epstein trying to make contact with him, with Jeffrey Epstein trying to use Stacey Plaskett to bring him down. But other than that, he had no connection with this guy. So when they start talking about it, make certain that you play this tape and say, wait a minute, we don't want to hear it. It's the Democrats who were in bed with Jeffrey Epstein in more ways than one, literally and figuratively. And I don't want to even think about it. But again, don't allow them to take you down a rabbit hole. And even once, like I said, we more than likely won't get that information for 30 days because they've got to put it all together and make it, I think the bill says that it has to be presented in a way that anyone can go in and read it and look at it. Well, that might take 30 days. And when they start looking at it, because they don't see Donald Trump, the first thing they're going to say is, oh, they scrubbed it. Oh, they took his name out. Guess what? Jeffrey Epstein's brother is already saying that the reason for the delay is that they're taking Trump's name out. No, they're not. They're not taking his name out. I mean, stop lying. Don't believe these guys. They're never satisfied. Never satisfied. And they never will be because it's all about stumping Trump. They want to stop Trump because he's doing what Democrats could never do. He's doing what a lot of Republican presidents couldn't do. He's making America great again. And he's saying, I don't give a what you think or what you say. It's all about the country. This is a billionaire saying this. And is it not interesting that the parties have flipped? That the Republican Party has become the party of the working class, and the Democrat Party has become the party of the snobbery, nose up in the air. We don't care about you. It's our way or the highway. The party where men can put on a dress and say that they are women, where men can go into ladies' locker rooms, where men can go into bathrooms where they're little girls and stare at them. And if you call them out, it's, oh my God, you're homophobic. You're LGBTQ ABC homophobic. Folks, wake up. Don't be deceived. It is time that we stand our grounds, and it's time that we call this out. That's all I have. But again, tune in Monday through Wednesday, the AmericaOutloud.news platform to hear After Dark with Rob and Andrew. And I'll also be coming on live here on America Emboldened. So if you want the truth, I would encourage you to follow me on Twitter, The Real Rob X, and stay tuned. Because here on After Dark, we will always bring you the truth. Be safe, God bless, and thank you.
After Dark with Rob and Andrew, speaking the truth like they're born to do. Voices strong, opinions tight, shining in the midnight light. After dark, no holding back. They keep you steady when the world's off track.